Hey everybody, Big Dan here from Emotiva. Man, we're going to have some fun here over the next couple of videos. I'm sitting here in front of, or behind, I guess I should say, the new XMC2 Plus, RMC1 Plus, now shipping, available for sale today. And we're going to get into the details of what makes this one different than this one. Not necessarily better, but different. And we're going to get in the weeds with these things, but I want to tell you they're here. They're being assembled right here in Franklin, Tennessee. They're phenomenal. You're going to love them. I'm going to bring the professor in, Lonnie Vaughn, and we're going to get in the weeds together and tell you about the details that make these such exceptional performers and such a great value in the high-end processor market. I thought I'd bring in the expert, Mr. Lonnie Vaughn, my VP of Engineering, the CTO of the company, the man with the plan. Lonnie, we finally got it going.
We did.
The trials of Job. We finally got this thing built and shipping, and I'm very, very grateful for all your effort and hard work. And
the whole
I
team,
think our customers are going to be thrilled.
They will.
Everybody's worked yeoman's hours to make this thing happen, and the results are beyond impressive. I was so proud of the company when I was watching it at the shows.
Oh, good.
And people would see the unit working in real time and switching all these sources and trying to get it to screw up, and it just boom, 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 boom. And that took a lot of effort and a lot of time.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about the most obvious thing that everybody talks about. We've enhanced the audio, we've enhanced the video, the operating system, made a lot of internal changes, which we'll detail out over time here. Even though the units look very much like the original models, there's huge changes inside. And let's talk about the most obvious, which is the video subsystem. We've got 8K capability now with no compromises.
No, none.
Yeah, so give me a little info about what we've done here.
So, and when you say no compromises, let me just say that we're working off of literally the latest gen parts from Panasonic Nuvoton. These parts actually did not go into mass production because we got advanced parts a long time ago, but mass production until February. So we were the first customer to actually get these, put them in.
Well, there's a little story behind that. We developed everything in the code on what was then the current pieces, and Panasonic said, oh, by the way, a B version's coming. Small changes.
Small change.
New software.
New software.
New software.
Oh,
but
no
it turns out
it was for the best.
Yeah. Phenomenal parts.
Phenomenal parts. Lightning fast. I mean, it's just everything just with the code work from our team and from
well, and I think we need to make special mention. We hired a gentleman that is probably the premier HDMI expert in the U.S. that I'm aware of, and he took a look at our HDMI code and said, well, do you want this to work or not? And we said, we'd like it to work. He goes, all right, let's start from scratch.
Let's start from scratch.
He went through, analyzed everything, and he really
he
taught us what we didn't know about HDMI.
And he still is.
And ironically, Lonnie, and I don't speak ill of anybody, but now that we've got ours working and we go benchmark other products, I go, oh, I see a lot of things wrong.
Yeah.
And until you get deep into the weeds, you don't really understand it. But
no, the
system now is incredibly stable and incredibly solid. And you know what they say? It just works.
It just works.
I told Lonnie a while ago, I said, what I want is no excuses. I just want it to work.
Yep.
And I feel like for the first time, anything we've done in terms of processor architecture, that we are really there.
Yeah.
And it's a huge relief and an incredible sense of satisfaction to see it. So these three parts will handle how many inputs and what's the story with them? What's the frame rates and the modes they'll support?
Well, basically, they'll support anything that's out on the market today.
So we're 8x2 right now, right?
We are 8x2, 8 in, 2 out. Every one of them is full 8K. 8K 60, we've run through it, and it actually does work at 8K 60. It's the highest generation we can even put.
So HDMI 2.1.
Yep.
HDCP 2.3.
Yep.
So we support.
And we actually support some of the new 2.2 HDMI 2.2 stuff, whatever.
The subset, that narrow subset for a consumer, Most of that's commercial from what I understand, and industrial, but not really for consumer.
No, the majority of it doesn't mean anything to us.
Well, we can barely get 1080p through most of these sources we have. So, well, 4K, I say. But, we're certainly not taxing the limits of the system these days with conventional program material. What I like about it is we got a lot of gamers in our both the employee base as well as our customer base,
That's good.
so variable refresh rate,
Yep.
low latency,
Yep.
all of the
Quick media switching,
Yeah.
all of that is in there and fully functioning at its highest capacity.
Yeah. And what I liked was Jake was so happy because he's a huge gamer.
Right.
And I guess on the Xbox, you get those little green check boxes
And
when
it just
everything
bing.
works. And we'd always get a red box, and now it's like up green. And we were at the show, and people were saying, "Let me see the menu of your Xbox," and they would like try to see what we were, and it supported everything.
Everything.
So it's all green boxes, guys. So you're going to like that a lot. And you managed to improve the efficiency of the HDMI board quite a bit too. I mean, they run a little warmer, they use more current, much higher speed, but we're getting really good thermal management out of it too.
And we actually did improve a lot of the performance simply by the fact that we're now looking at the inputs, okay? So if it's actually got something plugged in and actually active, we're keeping it active so we can do quick media switching.
So we're holding the EDIT internally and keeping it captured, as it were. Yeah.
Exactly, so that under standard frame rates and stuff like that, it'll switch from one input to another in usually about 3 or 4 seconds, which is a huge departure from what it used to be.
What I do notice now is the system waits for the TV to negotiate the changes. We're waiting for them.
We're waiting for it.
We're running a movie, we're all set, we have video and audio, we are all happy. Let's switch then to the next input, which is going to be a Roku Ultra running some 4K content that again has Dolby Vision enabled. So I'm going to tap on that, and right as I tap on it, it begins switching over and it begins loading up. And again, before I can even finish the sentence describing it, it already switches over. You saw the Dolby Vision flash there.
I was at a demo in, I think I was in Munich, and I was looking at a very, very expensive processor for switching 4K, and it took 12 or 13 seconds to get audio capture after they had video. And I said, "Is that normal?" And they go, "That's what it is." I said, "Really?" I said, "Okay." So we don't have that problem. We're very, very quick now, and
we did a lot of things. I mean, if it's not actively being used, we actually power that part down in the chips so that we're conserving energy there, and it helps with the thermal management.
We don't need a fan on top of the chips.
No, I look at the heat sinks, compared to what it used to be, and so many other improvements. Like now, what we're doing is we've got local management on the board. So a lot of the heavy lifting, the talking between the different systems is handled locally, and we just kind of oversee it in the main.
So we're not dragging down main system resources, just doing housekeeping.
Right, and so that
which was not always the case.
Which was not always the case, but now it's so much faster because of doing it that way, and there's just so many other improvements and advances. That
I used to like to call the volume control the wheel of death, when it would get logged down, with all these things going in the background. So that's all completely been eliminated.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest with you guys.
We live and learn.
You all know what our issues were, and we've been knocking them down over time. But at this point in time, with the new operating system and the latest code, I mean, it's really solid. I watch Damon setting up and navigating as fast as he can push the buttons. He's moving through all the sound fields and the speaker manager. It's really incredible.
Impressive.
So HDMI is rock solid. 8K on all inputs, 8K 60 on all inputs, 4K 120, all the goodies.
Yep.
It's working.
It's in there.
It's in there. It's in there. Well, I guess what we'll do is talk about the new operating system next, okay?
Yeah.
We're going to talk strong arm processors, Linux operating systems.
Linux.
And things that I don't.
Everybody's favorite language.
I don't really understand. I just know that it takes time and costs money. So Lonnie, let me see your new ECC2 module.
The new ECC2.
Now what's that in the middle of that thing?
So that is actually a CM4. That's a Pi.
A compute module 4, the industrial compute module.
The industrial compute module.
Very cool part.
And I mean, you know the story, but just to give everybody a little quick background. Our old system was getting a little long in the tooth. Mm-hmm. It was reaching the capacity of what it was capable of actually doing.
We had a TI Cetera strong arm on that thing, if I recall.
We did.
And it was out of gas.
It was out of gas. So we were looking into what to replace it with, right? And the interesting thing was, when we started making our wish list of, okay, well, it needs to have Wi-Fi, and we need to be able to do this, need to be able to do that, need to have this much memory, it just kind of naturally progressed to, guess what? the Pi was the best choice, and it
Yeah.
made life so much better going down that road.
Raspberry Pi makes industrial modules. This is the CM4 in particular on this one, and they're phenomenal. They're incredibly robust. They're stable. They've
Powerful.
Got
Oh my
very,
gosh.
very powerful. And you know, we can't buy the parts and build it for less than we can buy a completely tested,
I know.
debugged, solid system for.
Right.
So it was pretty obvious where we needed to go with this thing. And I think that was a great decision because it's got the radios built in, it's got Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, everything's already built into it.
It's
It makes it very,
certified and done.
yeah, makes it very, very easy. And that has improved the operating efficiency of the system tremendously.
Ethernet's now gigabit. I mean, our internal operating system is now running off of USB where it didn't used to, so it's running at lightning speeds.
Yeah. And what's the practical benefit of that running it on USB-C internally, or USB internally? Excuse me.
So before, if you guys have had any of our older units, you would know that you go to turn the volume or you go to adjust it on your remote, and there might be some lag time.
It might be.
There might be.
Yeah.
There might be.
A little sluggish sometimes.
I'm being nice here.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so there was some lag time. Everybody knew it. I'm not going to deny it.
Well,
This
and the
this is one of the
more
ways we got
things
rid
you
of
had
it.
going on, and the
Yeah.
more things it had to load between button pushes, you know, the more it would load down.
Exactly, because it had to go out and tell this to do that. It had to go over and tell that. Is this okay? Are you good? What are you doing over here? This took it from being like 400 hertz or 400 kilohertz talkie between the boards up to around 2 megahertz between the boards.
So much faster bus speeds.
And much more powerful processing and localized management on each board took a lot of the load off of the system, and it's just everything's lightning fast.
Yeah, I think the thing that you should not make light of, I mean, beyond having a much, much faster processor, but you guys spent months and months revamping the code to improve its efficiency and I guess the efficiency of the code to clean it up and make it operate very efficiently.
1.5 million lines of code completely rewritten.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say completely rewritten,
Yeah, it's a completely new operating system.
it
yeah.
is. It followed the architecture of the old because that was already, it took years to develop that. But it's a completely new system, and it's 1.5 million lines of code.
Yeah, and it works beautifully, and it's very, very robust, which I think everybody out there in Emotiva land is worried about or interested in knowing, and it is extremely robust. It doesn't lock up, it doesn't freeze, it doesn't
Do anything weird.
yeah, it just
just
runs.
does.
Yeah, and it's been a huge improvement. And
Yeah.
the great thing about all the Emotiva products is, this module is a form fit. It will replace the ECC1 in the earlier units. So you're going to be hearing about our upgrade program very shortly. And the nice thing about this, the units are mechanically identical because we believe in modular design approaches. So this will take the place of the ECC1, but it's like putting a turbocharged twin turbo V8 in place of a little inline 4 or normally aspirated. I mean,
Exactly.
it's just unbelievable the difference. Yeah.
And you get built-in Dirac. No more box.
No more box. No more external Dirac interface.
That's
which
right.
Everybody's going to be very, very happy about,
It's all built in.
especially us, yeah,
Especially
and the
us.
customers, yeah. So fantastic, real improvement in the system, and it just works,
It just works.
and it's backwards compatible.
And that also has the new web app embedded in it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't- you don't have to download an app on your phone. It's actually web pages that are actually embedded in the system itself. You just go to the IP address and
Well, that's cool
Instant
because it doesn't
control.
matter what your platform is then.
right.
iOS,
Doesn't matter.
Mac, I mean, not Mac, PC,
Fire Stick, what?
Fire Stick, whatever you got, Android, we don't care.
And it doesn't matter if the screen's this big or this big.
Yeah, rotate auto, this auto adjust. Yeah,
yeah.
it's very, very cool. So it's platform agnostic. I like saying that.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds very like I'm really smart when I say that.
Well, you are.
And I don't know what these little squares are. I think those are they're little
Inductors?
chokes, but I like them. They're SMD chokes. They're very
Yeah.
pretty. Yeah.
Power supply.
Yeah, I know. It looks cool, man.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the product, the audio board. What do you got there, Lonnie Vaughn?
Oh, I got the new ADAC 16. Isn't she a
Isn't that
beauty?
beautiful? Look at that.
Look
Look
at
at all
that.
of those parts.
Ah, Ray did a nice job laying it out, didn't he?
It's fantastic. Yeah, Ray is a master of doing this kind of work. That's really really where he shines.
It is. It is.
So, what was wrong with the old board, Lonnie? We had that AKM board. What was wrong with it? Why did we have to change?
Well, There wasn't anything wrong with the board itself, but what happened was, if you guys remember a couple of years back, AKM had a fire at their main production
At a
facility.
very inconvenient time.
At a very inconvenient time, and I'm so sorry for them, but those parts no longer exist. So,
Necessity is the mother of invention.
but it was a good thing because it actually put us on the hunt to make this.
Yeah.
And that's where we started working on new DACs and new this and new.
It's an interesting thing. It's, I love the AKM board.
Oh, I do too.
And, but I've got a really, really soft spot for Burr Brown parts.
Yep.
Especially their DACs. I love the sound of their DACs.
Yep.
And
And this one actually, of all the ones we played with when we were looking, this definitely was the one that sounded the best.
yeah.
But that's why we went with it.
That's the, if I recall, that is the PCM, the Burr Brown 1795, excuse me. The 1795. And I notice there's a lot of them in here, Lonnie, and I want to get into this a little bit. We switched from AKM to TI/Burr Brown
Right.
for our conversion in here. We've done a couple interesting things that go back to the old days. We were having this meeting when we decided to change the board,
Yep.
and we were deciding, what op amps do we want to use? There's always a big argument in the company about op amps.
Yep.
And we have lots of fights about it. We do a lot of hot swapping of op amps, and we change them out. And
Because there's a lot of hot rod parts out there today.
yeah, there's a lot of
That doesn't
remarkable
mean they
parts.
sound good, but they have they got
Well, they
good
measure
specs.
really well, but measurement and sound are sometimes two different things.
Yeah.
But I was, Lonnie and I were having one of our trips down memory lane, and I said, what about the LM833, 837 combo?
The toasters.
The toasters, they're a bipolar, they're a fantastic op amp. When they came out, they were just revolutionary. But they go against the grain. They're not a BiFET input or a MOSFET input. They are a bipolar input, and they run a lot of Class A current in them.
A lot of Class A current. They run hot, but they.
Well, for an op amp, yeah.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
you think of it in terms of a Class A amp, right?
Yeah, they go, like put your finger, oh, they're warm.
Yeah.
They feel nice, yeah.
Yeah.
And they have a certain sound to them that I find extremely natural and appealing. So
too.
we said, well,
A little trip down memory
we're putting a little
lane.
more power supply in the new units. Let's go with the 833s, 837s. The 837 is a quad version.
Right.
And wow,
Oh, yeah.
great performance.
It
And
was-
great noise floor, too.
was the best
Even
choice.
Ray, who was such a skeptic, these things are quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's looking, he goes, this is an old part.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
yeah.
So that worked out pretty good. So we got new DACs. We've got not a new old op amp, but
New old
we're
op.
on the 833/837s.
Sweetest op amp out there.
And then you've got some nice
No.
8-channel volume controls.
Yeah, we got the new,
That's an NJU 72343.
yeah, and I can't remember, New Japan Radio, who they're,
Yeah, whatever. I used to
Whatever.
call them NJR, now it's NJU, and it's...
But they have
yeah.
a high-end division, and that's where
Yeah.
these parts come from.
It's fantastic.
But,
and
yeah.
the most important thing I think we should touch on a little bit is that, a lot of processors have XLR jacks in the back. You'll see a
Right.
big row of XLRs. You go, oh, that's a balanced connection. But Lonnie, is it really balanced, or does it just pseudo-balance?
It's pseudo-balanced on 99.9% of everything that's out there on the market.
And why do they use pseudo-balanced instead of really balanced?
It uses half the part.
Uses half the part. It costs half as much money to
Half
make.
as much money to make.
Half as many DACs,
Yeah.
half as many buffers, half as many I to V stages, half as
Everything.
many volume controls. I mean, it makes a big difference in the
Smaller
parts.
power
count.
supply, smaller
Yeah,
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
It's the hard way to do it, but it is, I think the right way to do it if you're looking to build a high-end reference kind of product.
Yeah, so this thing's fully differential from the DACs out. I mean,
All the way through.
All the way through and through. I mean,
Buffers, volume controls, everything is running fully differentially balanced. If you see a product of ours with a differential reference logo in the front, that means that the circuit path is not just XLR connectors and balanced connection, but the internal circuitry is fully balanced in to out. And that's a big differentiator between us and the other brands that are out there.
And one of the other big differentiators between us and everybody else is we're old school when it comes to actually the power supplies driving all of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty modern, or it's pretty normally accepted today to just run 5 volts on the board and everything works within 5 volts, but that limits how much you can get out of the board.
Not enough headroom.
There's no headroom in the
Yeah.
system. And it's very apparent when you listen to the ones that you bring in for comparison. We're running plus and minus 15 volts on the op amps, plus and minus 9 volts on the volume controls. It's all differentially driven with high voltage rails that we can get 12 volts out of the system if we had to.
Yeah, lots of headroom. Lots and lots of headroom. And you can hear it instantly. And very, very low noise floor. You've got the common mode rejection of a fully balanced signal path.
Yep.
And internally, the balanced connections eliminate any contamination from external sources in the box. The natural common mode rejection of the balanced signal, it makes the unit exceptionally quiet and immune from outside interference. And it's worth, in my mind, it's worth the cost.
And you get the performance of an actual real 2-channel system when you're using it in 2-channel mode.
Yeah, that's a really important thing to talk about. In our reference audio mode, our true stereo pure mode, for lack of a better term, this is basically a giant stereo volume control.
That's it.
So the signal comes in, there's no conversion, there's no DSP, it comes in, it's buffered, it goes to the volume controls and output buffers and out the unit, unmolested.
Unmolested. So it's like I would put this up against any high-end 2-channel preamp, spec-wise and everything else.
It's phenomenal.
It'll match its spec for spec.
Yeah, so this is a great improvement. The sound quality is unparalleled. Another thing I want to bring up, which again, this sounds like silly stuff, but you saw little relays here?
Yeah.
These are mute relays, and most products use mute transistors.
Yeah.
And mute transistors don't provide 100% attenuation,
About
and
60, 70
they load
dB.
the signal, and they can provide nonlinearities in the output stage. You got to be very careful with mute transistors, and they're very delicate. They tend to get backfed and fail. You have a unit with you'll have a one channel that makes noise on and off.
Power
tick noise.
goes on and off.
It's
and then
because the mute
it's
transistor failed.
Yep.
The circuit still works, but it won't mute anymore properly.
Right. And you get ticks and pops all the time.
Right, so we have actual mute relays on all the outputs.
Yep.
And it makes a big, big difference in terms of sound quality and complete attenuation of the audio signal. Also, all critical switching is done in here with relays also for signal routing for the stereo path and some of the other sound modes that we do just for improved performance and maximum headroom and low noise floor. So nicely done, Ray, nicely done, Lonnie, and look at that. How many layers is that board?
That's 6 layers.
6 layers for the main board.
Yeah.
Big port, ground planes, very, very quiet. It's fantastic. Look at that.
It's a beautiful
I love
piece
it.
of art.
We're just going to take a quick overview of the feature changes or enhancements that have taken place from the first generation XMC2 and RMC1 to the Plus versions. We've talked a lot about the inside the box, but in terms of features that consumers are going to enjoy and enhanced capabilities, let's just start down the top of the list. So we've got Dolby Atmos.
Yep. We got the new Dolby Atmos,
Yeah.
which also does the new Dolby upmixing,
Which is really good, by the way.
which is really good. So before, there was things that were pinned and all that kind of stuff, and it wouldn't upmix to everything like people expected it would. It does that now.
Yeah, some of the old Disney titles were pinned, and they were
So the new Dolby upmixing's in there, and what do we got? We got the new DTS, right? The new
Well, we
DTS
had
Pro.
DTS X Pro.
Right.
Big difference between X and Pro. You want to inform us what
Sure.
those changes are?
Yeah, so the older versions had DTS X, which gave you 12 channels. The new Pro version takes advantage of all 16 channels in the system, and that's a beautiful thing, which dovetails into, because they're part of the same group, the new IMAX.
IMAX, yeah, big one.
Yep, so IMAX is also in there. Everything's done.
Now
we're waiting on certification.
Yeah, we're
though.
in certification, but we will support IMAX, both
Yes.
IMAX video,
And audio.
right, which is important, the
Because-
differentiation between them.
Yeah, depending upon what company or what product or whatever, it may do one or the other, depending on what
It's
it
kind
is.
of confusing the way it's labeled, but we support both IMAX video and audio modes. And the improvement in the DTS X Pro is, I'm going back to that a little bit, circling back, that's a big improvement.
Oh, it
that
really
makes a
is.
big, big difference, because that was a real big limitation on DTS X.
Yep,
So
and
the Pro version, and
Neural X,
Neural X is way better too.
way better than it was.
You know, it's, you like hardtops, you like convertibles. They both sound great. They have a different character to each one of the upmixers.
Yep.
And there's something for everybody there. It makes a big, big difference.
Big difference.
I think the functionality is really state of the art at the moment.
Oh,
and
it
I
really
want to
is.
talk a little bit about a thing that I noticed in testing so many other products is We have what we call Live AV. It's our trade name for, kind of what you see is what you get. So on an Emotiva processor, when you decide you want to change the EQ or a level or trim something or set an input setting or parameter, whatever you want to do, our units, we go to a lot of effort to have an overlay that's available at all frame rates over all video modes that you can control the unit over live audio and video and see and hear the results in real time over live content.
It doesn't jump away to some screen or whatever, and you don't know that it's done anything until it bounces back out.
And then you're trying to compare, well, did it sound a little bit better here, a little less mid-range, or a little more bass, whatever, and you're leaving the live mode and going into a pretty screen, then you bump back, and it's really hard to make the A/B comparisons like instantaneously.
It's like you can see it, make your changes, and hear it all at the same time.
And that's a really important thing for us. We've always been huge on having this live AV functionality from the very beginning of our processor history. But that's always been a big feature for us. And sometimes it's a lot of work to implement. But the new silicon does it beautifully. And it's just a great feature. So when you're using it, you're going to find that it's very easy to fine-tune the unit and navigate and control your unit in a really practical kind of what you see is what you get kind of basis. And I think it's a very usable, friendly platform at this point and extremely robust and stable.
And it does all the latest video codecs, you know, your HDR10, your HDR10 Plus, you know, all of your high bandwidth stuff, both different kinds of Dolby Vision, you name it, it's all
You want it, it's got it.
It's got it.
And don't forget, we haven't talked enough about the web app.
Right.
There's no more sitting there setting everything up on the on-screen display. You sit in the comfort of your easy chair line.
Right.
You know I'm very good with the easy chairs.
Yep.
It's my area of expertise.
Yep.
And now you completely set up and configure the unit on your laptop or on your tablet rather, or whatever you got, your phone, whatever device you have.
Yep.
You can pre-configure the unit even before you turn it on in the system and get it all set up and configured, and then boom, you go. And
away you go.
That's transformative. It makes a huge difference in just the ease of operation and setup. And then of course you can use it as your remote control.
Yep.
You can use it as for anything you want day to day. You know, it's fantastic.
And because it works off the IP address of the actual unit in your house, we do know that we do have a number of people that actually have multiple units.
Yeah.
So they can use the same web app and just call up the different units in their house. And no
so
special setup needed.
I don't think
no
there's
special
any practical limit to how many it'll control in one system, right? I think it's like something crazy.
It's 255.
Yeah, that should be enough for most homes. Maybe you might use two, Lonnie, in my palatial estate.
Yeah, you would. I think you probably have three, but yeah.
I think two, yeah. But that's fantastic. So you can, they self-identify and
They self-identify.
They don't
and
step on each
you can change
other.
the name on them to like this one's media room, this one's living room, you know, that kind of stuff. And
I love it.
It's just the same app for all of them, and where you go. And
it's a whole new day at Emotiva, kids.
It's a great day.
We're doing things the right way. You're going to love these boxes. And I'm going to mention one other thing, I should say. Sound quality. Unparalleled sound quality. I'm telling you right now, I've listened to everything out there, and when you listen to the the XMC2 or the RMC1, you don't take a second seat to anything out there. You're probably way better than most of the boxes I've heard. So, well done, Lonnie.
No,
well done. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you. Well, kids, that's it for the moment. Believe me, we got a lot more coming in the future. But right now, just a quick overview. Lonnie, number one, you're a genius. Ray,
I got
second to
geniuses
you.
that work with me.
You know how to manage geniuses, which is another skill set that's often overlooked. Great job.
Thank you.
You guys, they're available today.
Yes.
$39.99, excuse me. I sound like a car salesman when I do that.
I know.
Any car, any color, $29.95.
As long as it's black.
As long as it's black, that's right. Okay, in all seriousness, XMC2, $39.99.
Yes.
The RMC1 Plus, $49.99.
Yes.
Designed and built with love, sweat, tears, and barrels full of money.
Yes.
Right here in beautiful Franklin, Tennessee, with globally sourced components. I don't want to get in trouble, you know. Now we build them right here. You can come out in the back, see us put them together. Many of the boards are made right here in the USA. We have a great facility down in Arizona that does our boards for us on all the main boards in this thing. So
Yep.
great effort. You're going to love these products. They will
You'll be astonished.
blow you away when you get them in your home and take a listen to them. Sound quality, stability, features, warranty, 5 years, transferable parts and labor, upgradeable. All you guys that bought these and stuck with us at the beginning have a very clean upgrade path to bring your units up to the latest standards and functionality. So we're in it for the long haul with you. We view this as an investment, not an expense. They're not disposable. They're things that you can own and enjoy for years to come. And we thank you, Lonnie. Great job to the team and everybody here at Emotiva. We appreciate
Thank you
you
to
all.
all the customers.
Yeah, and the customers. God bless you all
Yeah.
too. Take care, everybody. Thank you.